बड़ी और अहम खबर से इस खास बुलेटिन की शुरुआत करते हैं, लेकिन एक बड़ी और अहम खबर सुप्रीम कोर्ट से आ रही है, जहां आर्टिकल 370 पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सुनवाई शुरू हो गई है। धारा 370 पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट में सुनवाई आज भी शुरू हो गई है। दरअसल छुट्टी के बाद आज एक बार फिर से 370 पर सुनवाई एक बार फिर शुरू हो गई है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में। तो बड़ी और अहम खबर आपको बताएं, अब से कुछ देर पहले सुप्रीम कोर्ट में ये सुनवाई 370 पर शुरू हुई है और दरअसल कुछ दिन की छुट्टियां थीं और उसके बाद एक बार फिर से 370 पर आज अब से कुछ देर पहले ये सुनवाई शुरू हुई है।
Back in 19th December 2018 to start a process, my lord, of amending the constitution for the purposes of which
normally when the legislature, here of course it's the constitution, uses the expression means and includes. Here it's not means, but it says make and includes. When means and includes is used by the legislature, it's an indication of expanding the power. So when the constitution says, it begins by saying make incidental or supplementary provisions,
yes,
and then says including. So this including seems to be to widen the ambit of what was stated earlier. Namely, the earlier part says you will make incidental or supplemental provisions. But then it says including. So including would mean that what was otherwise not a supplemental or incidental provision is within the ambit of the presidential proclamation, isn't it? Because suppose the clause C read just up to proclamation and didn't have and including. It's not and including, it's including.
That's right.
Suppose it ended with the word proclamation.
The operation of any provisions of this
So
constitution.
if the last part of Article 356(1)(c) was not there, you could have challenged any amendment of the Constitution on the ground that you don't have the power to make an amendment of the Constitution in the guise of making an incidental or supplemental provision.
Lord, this is the basis of our challenge, my lord. In our petition, we have challenged only the suspension.
My question is this. Suppose the President in a proclamation suspends the operation of any provision of the Constitution. Is that amenable to a challenge on the ground that it is not incidental or supplemental? Or are these words of widening the ambit of the first part of 356(1)(b) so as to be immune from such a challenge?
This, my lord, has remained within the limits of 356. That is, for the governor, you read the president. For the legislature, you read the legislature. But I've never seen a provision in any proclamation, my lord, throughout, my lord, these decades, which actually uses the supplemental and including. I've never seen it take away a mandatory provision of the Constitution. This is exceptional, my lord. Now you can read it together in one way, you can read it together in the other way. If you expand 356(c), my lord, then you will say that the president has a carte blanche to amend any part of the Constitution as part of the supplementary provisions.
Can you, for example, say that there will be no judiciary in the state?
That's right, my lord.
That's what you are.
That may be covered by the proviso, but at any
Right.
rate.
Oh yes, the proviso says, of course.
Supplementally, this 356(c) has to be read with the mandatory provisions which it cannot dilute.
But actually the proviso, Dr. Dhawan, the proviso seems to indicate that if Parliament, if the Constitution wanted to exclude a particular power from the authority to suspend a provision of the Constitution, then that has been specifically defined. So the proviso says that you will not suspend anything pertaining to a high court, or you will not assume to yourself as the president any of the powers which are vested by the Constitution in a high court during the operation of a proclamation under Article 356. So where it wanted to introduce a restraint on the presidential power, it has done so in the form of the proviso.
यार देखिए, आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो सुनवाई है वो लाइव आप देख भी पा रहे हैं, टेलीकास्ट लाइव इस वक्त आप देख रहे थे। सुप्रीम कोर्ट से ये सीधे जो 370 को लेकर लगातार सुनवाई हो रही है उस पर ये हम आपको दिखा रहे थे, और इससे पहले भी लगातार जो सुनवाइयां हुई हैं वो भी हम आपको विस्तार